Hi there everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome to another episode of Should You Pull for Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia. Now this week, or this time around, I haven't got any cosplay makeup on because this one would be particularly difficult to do in a short space of time, and that's because we are looking at Golbez and his wonderfully massive suit of armour, his EX weapon, and his two banner mates in Laguna and 7. So if you'd like to know whether Golbez is going to carry you for a good few months, whether he's worth spending your tickets or your gems on, and how he's going to affect your team in the coming months for Dissidia Opera Omnia, then stay tuned and keep on watching. As always, don't forget to check out all of the social links in the description box below, including my Discord channel where we discuss Opera Omnia, Final Fantasy TCG, all manner of things, my Patreon channel and my Twitch channel if you want to follow me on there as well. Don't forget to check out DissidiaDB.com, as honestly, without that resource I wouldn't be able to make these videos nearly as effectively. And don't forget to check out all of the other DFFOO content creators out there. There's plenty of them. There's streamers, there's video creators, there's podcast creators, there's all sorts of people out there for you to enjoy if you love the game as much as I and the rest of us do. As per usual, we're going to start with the two banner mates to begin with, and the first of which is going to be Laguna. Now, Laguna is a debuffer character, as he has been since the initial launch of the game. He's been around since day one, and honestly, he's okay, actually. Even though he doesn't have his EX weapon yet, he doesn't have a rework yet, he's actually not terrible. If you don't have an awful lot of characters, or you don't have anyone that fulfills this kind of role, like you didn't pull for Kefka and didn't get anything for him, then Laguna will suffice for the time being. He's not amazing, but his AoE shotgun blast, where it becomes a brave HP attack if you have his 35 CP weapon, is certainly usable, and it will help you farm, you know, during cycle quests or get through waves relatively easy. But as is always the case, he's not going to stand up to anyone who does have an EX weapon. So while you've got that to look forward to in the future, like if we click on the Japan version, we have the Ragnarok Buster ability coming. But obviously, when that weapon comes around, likelihood is we'll have a banner that has his other weapons as well. However, that being said, the Hellblow gun, which is his World of Illusions weapon, if you did manage to pick that up during the various World of Illusions banners that we had over the past few weeks, then maybe you'd be quite happy to get some of Laguna's stuff. So now we're going to move on to 7, and like Laguna, she's actually not too bad either, as especially for somebody who's not long started the game, because now's a really good time to be starting the game, by the way. We've had so much free stuff recently, and we've got even more coming up with the Summer Festival. If you're just starting out, then 7 and Laguna are both characters that are quite useful for expanding your roster. So 7 is also a character that has debuff capabilities through her Snakebite power. She's most useful for having everyone concentrate on one enemy, because she can only inflict her Snakebite debuff, which is a framed debuff that the character takes more damage from anyone who, as long as they have that debuff. So she's mostly useful for locking down a singular boss. She's a lot less useful if there's more than one. That being said, she's actually very good alongside Quistis, so if you manage to pull for Quistis' stuff like her EX or her Generator Whip passive, you're going to get quite a lot out of 7, which is quite funny because they're both Whip users. I actually have a soft spot for 7 personally. She's probably my favourite character in Type 0. And then her Elemental Lash is mostly just a basic Brave HP attack with elemental properties to it, including Ice, which the boss of the event that Golbez comes with is going to be weak to, as well as Dark. But the main selling point for Elemental Lash, if we look at her weapon passives, if you have her 35 CP weapon, is that if the enemy is already afflicted with the Snakebite debuff, Elemental Lash triggers twice. Now, something that, you know, a theme that's going to be running along characters for the next while is that their attacks are going to trigger more than once. Golbez, as we get to him, you'll see that that happens an awful lot with him. So having somebody that's a bit easier to acquire all the stuff for that can also do something similar, she's obviously not going to be meta-defining. She's not going to be anywhere near as good as Golbez, seeing as he has an EX and she's yet to have one. But if you pick up 7 stuff, try her out. I think you'd probably be quite surprised by her. So now we come to Golbez himself, the Big Daddy, big black-clad armour. As I say, he's a fan favourite for a lot of players, and he's somebody that's been hyped in the game for quite a long time. He's the first of 2 major damage upgrades that come this month, and it's time that we had a look at why that might be the case. So looking at his attacks, you can see there's a lot of text that goes there with these guys, but the main reason that he goes off so well is we've already seen with Kuja that having the ability to trigger your abilities more than once through Ultima Plus, etc. makes it so that he's really powerful, and Golbez does that a lot more easily and with a lot more strength even. than Kuja does. Upsettingly for me, as Kuja is my favourite character in the entire franchise, Golbez's damage does kind of kick Kuja to the curb a little bit, and then Rinoa in a couple of weeks will do exactly the same thing. So, Rising Wave is a dark, brave and HP attack that grants a stack of Shadow Dragon for 4 turns, which is a unique buff to him, which doesn't really affect his stats all that much. It affects his max Brave and attack, but the main reason that you use it is because it allows him to get secondary attacks going, which are stronger depending on how many times he's used it. So I'm actually going to go over his weapon passives first, so that I can explain his other abilities better. But basically, all that his weapon passives do is make the damage higher, but they both grant an additional stack of Shadow Dragon when you attack with them. So Shadow Dragon goes to a maximum of 3, so you can't gain any more than 3 stacks of it. But the effects of your attacks, both Glare Hand and Rising Wave, are different depending on how many stacks of Shadow Dragon you have. So the first one, it's just going to do a Brave attack following up the Brave HP attack you have normally. But from the second attack onwards, or from the Shadow Dragon 2 buff onwards, it starts dealing a Brave HP attack, and then it doubles the Brave hits for each attack that you get after your Shadow Dragon 3 is active. So it's very important to get the 15 and the 35 CP passive for Golbez, because without them you're going to have to wait another turn before you start dealing the second HP attacks after it. So that's something to note for him. So the main difference between the two abilities, Rising Wave and Glare Hand, is one of them is single target and one of them is AoE. So, you know, he's going to be really good for farming. Like, most characters have a decent AoE Brave HP attack at this point, but Golbez's his damage is staggering. He gets a lot of passives, including the Shadow Dragon buff for his max Brave and attack. So he doesn't do any like party-wide buffs or anything like that, but that's why we have support characters like Rosa and the upcoming Lena coming out, so that we can just get more damage out on him. And then he's just raw damage. Though the thing to note with him is that all of his damage is locked to the dark element. So if you're up against a boss that resists dark, then you're going to struggle to do a lot of damage with Golbez in the first place. Quickly looking at his passives before we jump into the EX weapon, Lunarian Descent, which is his Crystal Awakening 50, is going to be very important for you because it raises max Brave and attack while he has Shadow Dragon active. But the best thing about this is that, like a lot of characters, this is the ability that you can enhance through artifacts. And if you get Lunarian Descent 2-star, that's going to increase your max Bravery and attack by a further 5% for each copy of it you have. So honestly, why bother getting... Well, you're going to want Attack 108 and Max Brave 330 anyway, but why settle for just one of those when you can have something that does both? You're definitely going to want to grab Lunarian Descent as much as you can, because, I mean, this in combination with a Rosa with a fully kitted out devoted White Mage artifact set, his damage is going to be astronomical. And then the Rising Wave Extend and the Glare Hand Extend, they're mostly just there just to do more damage, because that's what Golbez is there to do. He just does dark damage and a lot of it. Now obviously there is the star of the show when it comes to this banner, and that's going to be Golbez's EX weapon. So what can this add to Golbez's kit that the rest of his kit doesn't already do? So we can look at it, which is Twin Meteor, which is a 5-hit Dark AoE Magic Brave HP attack, which inflicts Dark Resist down for 4 turns. Now this is a very important part of this ability, as we've seen with Paladin Cecil and his Holy Resist down, which then triggers another 5-hit Dark AoE Magic Brave HP attack, which can overflow up to 150%. Both of these attacks can. It moderately raises the bravery damage if it's dealt to a single target, which basically means that, like a lot of AoE attacks, if there's only one target, it does more damage as if it were a single target attack. It does HP damage split equally across all enemies, and it grants 3 stacks of Shadow Dragon. So basically you max out Shadow Dragon straight away, which is really useful primarily for a friend unit Golbez, because it means that they're going to get their maximum capabilities out straight away. But by the time you've gotten to your EX cast, because it's quite a slow one, I mean it's not slow, but by the time you've gotten to his EX attack, you've probably already got 3 stacks of Shadow Dragon, so there's that to bear in mind as well. And then the limit break abilities that you get from it are raising the damage but with Twin Meteor. When using Twin Meteor, the max overflow limit is raised, which is very, very good, because if you've already maxed out his bravery before he goes to use it, you're going to get so much more damage out of that first AoE attack, and then obviously the second one is just icing on the cake, and then it raises the recast speed of Twin Meteor. But the primary thing, I think, to bring out of this is, A, it gives him more longevity, as all EX attacks do, because it's something that regenerates over time. He also is going to get Dark Resist down on 4 turns, which is going to be a huge deal for Golbez in order to just deal more damage and get even more longevity out of the rest of his attacks. So having a quick look into the future, Golbez doesn't return until, certainly not with his EX weapon, until he comes back with his Lost Chapter, by which time we'll have had level 70 Awakenings, EX pluses. There may be some global exclusive banner that features Golbez on it before then, but until that point, with the research that we have available to us, if you're wanting to get Golbez, then now is realistically your only time to do it within the next 9 to 10 months. So if Golbez is your favourite character, then by all means pull for him now. There's a lot, however, to be pulling for this month. There are 2 different damage dealers on the same level as Golbez. So with Rinoa on the horizon, Lena on the horizon, who I actually think is the most important character to be pulling for this month and the longest lasting one, Golbez is a strong candidate to be pulled for, but he's not. As long as you pull for either him or Rinoa, and you've got other characters and support characters that are worthwhile around them, then you're going to be okay in terms of future content. But the fact of the matter is that Golbez does more damage than anyone else we currently have in the game, but he is locked to a single element. So as I said earlier, if you're up against a box that resists Dark, then Golbez is going to struggle. Even with the Dark Resist down, he has to get to that point, and he's just not going to be an optimal play for you in that particular content. The only other thing that I would like to mention before ending the video as well is that both Rinoa and Golbez, who are the 2 that are most comparable to each other, have just had their EX Plus activations in the JP version of the game. They've just had their banners rerun, they've just had their lost chapters, etc., as I've spoken about before. And the general consensus is that Golbez is the stronger of the 2 when it comes to later on. He'll come back alongside 7's EX, which is also quite a strong one. So whether you pull for him now or later is entirely up to you. But in my opinion, this is more of a reason not to pull for Golbez, because if you want both him and 7, you can always wait for the next time to come around. Although if you get him early, then it means you don't have to pull for him later. So there's swings and roundabouts between pulling for him now and pulling for him later. So all in all, before concluding the video, do I think that this banner is worth pulling on? One with Golbez EX, Laguna and 7. Honestly, I'm struggling to find an answer for this. I think Golbez is incredibly powerful, and he's not coming back for a long time, and his damage is astronomical as of this point in the game. Rinoa is also a character that does this, very similar if not more damage than Golbez does, and it's non-elemental, so she's not locked down to a certain element, but she doesn't play as well with characters like Rosa as Golbez does. But honestly, my recommendation to you is to have a look at DissidiaDB.com or videos of people who are using Golbez from the JP version as well as Rinoa, and make your decision based on the 2. If you have the resources to pull for both, go ahead. July is not going to be quite as strong a month for pulling as this month is, but my gems personally, I may throw some tickets at Golbez purely because if I got him easily, I'd be really happy, and he'll go really well with some of the characters that I've already picked up. But I'm primarily saving up for Lena and Rinoa, but your gems would most certainly not be wasted on this banner. In all fairness as well, if you're a newer player, grabbing 7 along the way is kind of nice. Laguna, if you have the Hellblow gun from his World of Illusions weapon kit, then great, you'll get some extra bits for him. I probably won't be pulling on this banner, but I would encourage fans of the character or someone who wants something immediate to go ahead and pull for it. Anyways, that's going to be it for me this video, and hopefully you guys get a bit of insight as to whether Golbez is someone you'd want to pull for, whether it's someone you just want to sink a few tickets on and hope for the best. And then hopefully you guys will be able to get what you want out of the game. If you are pulling for Golbez, I wish you all the best of luck, and thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and you can stay tuned for more Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia content, as well as Final Fantasy TCG content, and any other content that you guys wish to see. So thanks again, and I'll see you all soon. Take care.